On today's episode of Video Marketing Madness, we're going to talk about how you can do green screen right from your own home studio. And today's episode is made possible by Pocket Video Pro. Pocket Video Pro is a microphone, lapel microphone, that you can attach directly to your smartphone so that you can record better audio when you're making videos. It also comes with a phone stand, so you can attach your phone to any tripod. And the new mount that we have for the tripod actually has a cold shoe on the top, so you can attach a light. And it even has a handheld area, so you can actually use it as a handheld iPhone mount for stability. So it's a great little new product. You can check it out right now at pocketvideopro.com. So check it out, pocketvideopro.com. And with that, we should probably hit our little song here. And so here we go. Should we do the rap version today, or should we do the regular?
Let's do the rap version.
Ooh, let's do the rap version. All right, here we go. The rap version.
Biggie. He's Ray, the video guy. Yeah, Ray, the video guy. His skill is where it's at. Even if he's a little fat, he's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need, you know. He stays sharp like a crease in his pants. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing super sick. He's Ray, the video guy, yeah. Ray, the video guy, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think MC Hammer is too worried about this guy.
But that's so bad it's good, as I've always said.
Well, that's
and
the whole
radio
point. Yes, $5 for that song.
That's right. And it's worth every penny.
Yes.
It's the radio show about video marketing madness with Ray the Video Guy, and I'm Steve Sleeper. You can subscribe to us on our home network, which is Earn.show, Stitcher, Blog Talk Radio, YouTube, iTunes. You've got some iTunes reviews maybe you're going to read later on.
Yeah, well, we're always looking for some iTunes reviews. And, of course, 5-star reviews are what we're really looking for. If you don't have a 5-star review, well, don't bother. But if you do have a 5-star review, head on over to iTunes, leave us that 5-star review like Eric, who says that keeping in line with his generous nature, Ray takes it to iTunes. Thanks for everything. Or Kayla, who says your tips are spot on. Thanks for so much and for being so generous. And, of course, Online Yeti, and we know exactly who that is. That excellent marketing tips from a video marketing guru. Thanks for laying it out there and helping everyone get their message out with video. Keep it up. All right, so that's just a few, and we've got a few more in there, but we need more. We need more 5-star reviews from people just like you. So head on over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review, and of course subscribe so that you make sure that you get new episodes every week. And if you're watching with us on Facebook, then, start clicking those little buttons up there. Tell us what you think. Do you like it? Do you love it? Are you shocked by it? Do you make you laugh? Does it make you cry? Does it make you angry? Now, if a show makes you angry, we will, we'll probably have to have an intervention. I'm not sure how it'll make you angry, but
we'll send Vito over, and you can check out my voiceover talent gig on Fiverr. The links.
Yes. Well, now wait.
SteveSleeper.com.
I just thought of something too. If we want to make sure that we get some angry things on our little chart up here, I will say, I love Donald Trump, and then you say, I hate Donald Trump.
Okay.
All right, so I love Donald Trump.
I hate Donald Trump.
That is guaranteed to get us some hate icon buttons there, I think, because we covered the entire gamut of at least the United States and parts of the world there. So
very good.
So if you hate that, if it makes you angry, then click on that button. All right, well, with that, we're having a little bit of fun here, but we need to once again talk about green screen and how you can create a green screen studio right from within your own home studio. And believe it or not, it's not that hard these days. Now, to take a little tour down memory lane and through history, green screen actually goes back to the old days of film, where in film they actually used blue screens because, obviously we all grew up knowing that the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. And when you're dealing with film, you're talking about print. And so they deal with red, green, red. Boy, I'm not going to get that right, am I? Red, yellow, and blue. However, when you're talking about digital stuff which deals with light and electronics, well, now we're talking about red, green, and blue. And of course, green being pretty much an opposite of anything that we have in our skin tones, at least most of the time. That makes it the ideal color to key out so that, you're not also keying out a person's face and whatnot when you're doing it. So that's why we use green screen these days. And of course, in the old days, doing green screen was actually quite difficult. You needed to have really good lighting. You needed to have a really decent camera, which could cost a couple $1,000s. And, the software was expensive and hard to find. And, not a lot of people did it. If they did it, it was a bigger studio where they could really afford to do Primat and Ultimat and things like that. However, this is the year 2017, and therefore we can do green screening just by using one of these babies, Right. And believe it or not, you can see a green screen behind me in my little studio here. I actually shoot most of my stuff either with my phone, right here, or depending upon what I'm doing, I might use my little Mevo camera.
Oh, yeah.
Which actually, people think of this as going live to Facebook with the little Mevo camera, but this actually does record to, there's a card back here. So you can just record video and then you can edit it traditionally. Only problem with that is the actual output is limited to 720p. So if you want HD, you're only going to get 720p, which is still pretty darn good. But that works quite well. You can still do your green screening and get some great results. Believe it or not, this camera up here, see, there we go, right there, actually is a Logitech, and it's a C920, which is a high-definition webcam. And I actually have used that with the green screen behind me to do some green screening, and it actually works quite well. And the point being that you don't need super expensive equipment these days. You don't need high-end cameras. You can actually do green screening with whatever you currently have. If you buy a fairly inexpensive video camera down at Best Buy, you're probably going to be able to do this just fine. If you use your phone, you're going to be able to do it just fine. If you're using a DSLR, you're definitely going to be able to do a pretty good job with this. And even some webcams will do a decent job. So a lot of different options these days, whereas 15 years ago, boy, it was much more of a pain in the neck to do. So nowadays, you've got a lot of options. And of course, when it comes to software, almost every video editor that you could use nowadays has green screen capabilities built into that. For instance, if you're using Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, Adobe After Effects, Sony Vegas, all the big ones, those are definitely going to have some great tools for that, and they'll have plugins if you want to go even further and do some really high-end green screening. All of that will be built into those softwares there. Take another step down. You're talking about programs like Camtasia, ScreenFlow. Those are going to have the green screen built in. iMovie has green screen built right into it, so all of those softwares do. And of course, even our free video editor that we give out at freevideoeditor.co, leave off the last M, that one actually has very good green screening capabilities built right into it as well. And so you can actually do some very nice work there by heading on over to freevideoeditor.co and downloading the editor. So it's very easy to do. But of course, we need to know a lot more than just owning software and having a camera. In order to do green screen properly, you're going to need to do a few things. Now, the first is obviously you're going to need a green screen. And there are a lot of different options for green screens out there. And fortunately, if you go to a place like Amazon or if you go to a place like B&H Photo Video, you'll be able to find a ton of options for doing green screen. Now, behind me here, the one that I have, you can kind of see some of the wrinkles in it, probably. That is actually a big green screen cloth. And I chose to go with a cloth because I can make a really big one. And I can put it over, I've got a stand behind there, and I can make it larger than just a small square. And it's easily you can easily fold it up and put it away, take it out of there. I leave this one up all the time, but I can certainly take that and put it away. There are some other great ones out there that you can get for a decent price. Now, a big cloth like this, you're probably only going to pay $20 to $40, maybe $50 for a big cloth green screen. It's basically, not much thicker than bed sheet material, but it does the job, and it's very portable to be able to put it away afterwards. There are some great ones out there that actually go onto rollers, almost like remember in school, Steve, when you used to be in class and they'd roll down the map like a window blind. They have ones that work like that, so they roll up onto the top and you roll them down. There are some that are made of a really nice felt-like material, and I really like those. They tend not to wrinkle too badly. They give you a very even light. They don't reflect much, and that's what really makes it good, is they don't give much of a reflection off. And neither does cloth. Cloth does a pretty good job. Another alternative to that, there are some pop-up ones that are available. I've actually got a portable pop-up green screen, which I keep, actually it's out in storage right now. But that one, you literally, it folds up into a disc and you pull it and it pops open, and it's not nearly as big as the green screen here, so you kind of have to position it behind your head and take a head and shoulders shot. But it works very well, and is very nice, and it's larger than I'm making it sound. It's actually pretty big. But, it's not going to be a full body or anything like that. Now, some other options are to paint your wall. And they actually have paint that is very specifically colored for doing this. You can actually pick that up again on places like B&H or on Amazon. Just look for green screen paint or chroma key paint, and you'll be able to find those. And I think they're fairly expensive. I think it's maybe like $50 for a gallon jug of it. And, you just paint the area that you want, and then you're able to do whatever you need to do. And those are great, by the way, for bigger studios where you're going to have, maybe you're building a big wall. Like we built one in a studio back near where I used to work, and we built the entire wall and then around a corner, and we rounded out the corner and rounded out the floor, and we painted the whole thing green. And so we had a really nice green screen there that we could do all sorts of things with. And we had a lot of fun with it. So there's a lot of different options for that. But you have to start off getting a green screen. Again, for most people in a home office, I would suggest getting the cloth one like this. Again, $40 to $50 probably. The one that I purchased actually came with a stand. So it's got two poles and a pole that goes across the top, which actually is expandable. So you can make different sizes. And I think I bought that kit along with two lights, which actually are right here. So the two lights, the whole stand, and the green screen, I think at Christmas time I bought it, and it was like $120 or something like that. It was fairly inexpensive for the amount of stuff that you got in there. And it came with a case to carry it all, and so it was a very nice little deal. So that's something to look out for. Look for the kits. They have green screen lighting kits on Amazon. They have them on B&H as well. And sometimes you can get some really good deals with that. I believe I got mine on Amazon, but it might have been on B&H. I don't recall. But we mentioned one other thing here, and this is going to be probably the most important part of all of this, and that's the lights. Now, I mentioned that I got two lights with this, and the two lights that I got with this have soft boxes on them. Now, what a soft box is it's a cloth hood that goes around the light, and then it has a big square at the front, and it puts a white cloth on it. And it makes the light very, very soft and spread out, so it's not blasting on you. This is great for things like lighting backgrounds or even lighting a person. And in a small studio like your home office, you're going to still need some good amounts of lights, but you can get away with a few more things just because it's a small area. And so what I have is I've got these two lights, and these double here. These are the ones that are actually lighting me right now for this video. So they're actually on either side of my desk, right above me here. And the green screen obviously is behind me. When I'm ready to shoot on a green screen, I just push my chair to the side, take a couple steps back, and I'm ready to go. Now, the way that I do things is I actually have those two lights there, which are lighting me, but I put them cross. So I've got one on the left, one on the right, and they kind of crisscross. And the reason we do that is because the shadows, when I'm standing on the green screen, are now going to be off to the side versus directly behind me. So doing that crisscross with these two soft lights, and there's not much of a shadow anyway because of the type of light they are, but it actually pushes the shadows to the left and right. And it also, because of the size of the room, these will not only light me, but they'll actually light the background as well. Now, it's not going to light the background completely, so I actually do have another big light over here and another one over here that I actually keep down lower, and I shoot up towards the background because These two lights will actually light the top fairly well, but then it gets darker towards the bottom. So I use those to fill in at the bottom, and they'll spread light up towards the middle, and then we get a nice even lighting on the background. And that's really what we're trying to do. We need to have very even light throughout the green screen. If this side's a little darker than this side, then what's going to end up happening is when you go to use the software is going to key out one side and not the other, and then you're going to try and get the other, and then it's going to switch, and you have to play with it a lot in order for it to work properly. But if you've got a good amount of light and you light the background really well, then it's going to be very simple to do your green screening, and you're going to get some really nice results with it. So that's the big thing you want to do, is make sure that you get a good amount of light and that you light the background really well. Now, another trick that you can actually use, and this can be very helpful, is to have another light, and this one can be a bit of a smaller light, and you want to put that one back behind you and up. And that one's not going to shoot towards the background. That one's actually going to shoot away from the background and onto the back of your head and shoulders. And the reason it's going to do that is because you want to create a nice separation. It'll put a nice highlight on your head and shoulders, and it'll separate you from the background. It'll also help to cut out any reflection from the green screen, because one thing you want to be careful of is if you're standing too close to the green screen and that green screen is really well lit, it's going to reflect green light onto you, onto your hair, onto your clothing. If your clothing is a little bit shiny, it's going to start to show up. And then when you go to key, it's going to try and key you out a little bit as well. You'll have trouble with your hair and your shoulders and things. And so using that can actually make a big difference and help out quite a bit. But and it's not very hard to do. It's just a very simple, small light, and can make a nice difference. So there you go. That's the basics of that. Now, to get into some more specifics with this, when you're looking for lighting, what I would suggest is that you find these days some fluorescent lighting or LED lighting. And the reason for that is they make it much, much easier to light these things without causing harsh shadows. In fact, the big light that I have to my right on the bottom here is actually an old photography light. And that old photography light used to use regular incandescent bulbs. Well, I shouldn't say regular. They were big, but they were incandescent bulbs, the old kind with a filament. Mm-hmm. And the two issues with that is, one, it puts out a very harsh light, which means now you have to use things like umbrellas to soften out the light, etc. The other issue is that the incandescent bulbs are extremely red colored or orange colored. And so you have to adjust things to that. Now, what I've done, and this is something that's pretty easy to do, is I've put daylight balanced lights in all of my stuff here. So in this room here, my two lights above me here, the soft lights, those actually have 4 curly Q daylight balanced lights for photography. Okay, so there's 4 of them in this one, there's 4 of them in this one. Now these two lights down here, I actually use a fluorescent bulb as well, daylight balanced, but it's not a normal bulb. It's actually, if you imagine those little curly Q bulbs that you'd put into your lamps and into your ceiling, this is like a gigantic version of those. So the curly Q part is like 5 times the size of a regular bulb, but it still uses the same threads. So you could put this into any socket, but it's a very big bulb, and it's the equivalent of using like a 500-watt bulb. And you can actually get those daylight balanced. You can get those again on places like Amazon. And I think the bulbs cost about $14 to $15 each. So, and you want to be very careful. They're very fragile. But as are the regular small curly Qs. So you want to be careful with any of those.
Didn't you have a business partner who used to break those on a regular basis?
Yes, Will was quite notorious for breaking those bulbs when we had them. Seemed every time we went anywhere or did anything, he always broke one of the bulbs. So yes, that did happen quite a bit. There's probably still parts of some of the bulbs in Vegas and all sorts of places. So yes, that definitely happened quite a bit. Mm-hmm. But they are very fragile. I haven't seen one break in a long time, which is good, but you do have to be very careful with them. But that's kind of what I do. Now, in this room here, the other thing that I did was the actual ceiling lights. Now, this room has 4 recessed lights up here. And so I went and I purchased daylight balanced regular bulbs. They look like the floodlight bulbs. So they've got the little glass casing over them, but they're daylight balanced fluorescence inside there. Again, they're a little more expensive to get them for that kind. So you're going to spend, instead of $1 at Walmart, you're going to buy these on Amazon. They're going to cost $5 or $6 each. But they make a big difference because what I wanted to do is I wanted to have this room be daylight balanced because it's not a studio, it's a home office. And to the side of me is a big, gigantic window. And no matter how much I try to put the blinds up or whatever, the sun is going to come in through there. And the last thing that you want is the sun battling your incandescent bulbs because the sun is very blue, the incandescent bulbs are very orangey red, and when the two come together, you have a big mess trying to shoot things. So I figure I'm not going to be able to change the sun, so I'll change my bulbs. And so I make sure that I get daylight balanced bulbs, and they work very well. And actually, it's a much more pleasant light, I think, in a lot of ways. It's a much more daylight style light. It's a much whiter looking light in normal circumstances. I say that the sun in these bulbs are blue, but they're only blue in comparison to incandescent bulbs. Incandescent bulbs, when you light those up, are definitely more orange. You can see the orange, whereas with these, they look white. So you're going to get a much more white room. It's like being in a fluorescent room, like normal, but it's a little bit more white and a little bit more natural looking. So that's why I like that. And I think the cameras like it a little bit better too. So that's kind of the direction that I've gone with that. And again, all of these things can be purchased on Amazon. None of them are very expensive, from the green screen to the stands to the lights. You'll spend a little bit of money, but not a ton. I mean, in the old days, you'd be spending a fortune for these things. So it's, a matter of relativity. But yes, very, very good stuff. And, with that, I think we've pretty much covered everything we covered last time, which for those of you who didn't hear last week's kind of show, we actually got cut off and lost some of the episode, and so we had to do this one again. And I think we covered everything we covered last time, didn't we?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thanks. We were going to try to kind of fix that last week, and Ray got a million things going. Now, yeah. Flash brings up something that was actually talked about in one of my podcasts about podcasts that I watch on Saturday morning. We need to look at the camera more.
Well, yes, you're right. Sorry, Flash. Yeah. And the problem is the camera is up here and Steve is over here. And so I keep talking to Steve, so I apologize for that. But yes, I need to learn to talk to. I'm going to have to put a picture of Steve right up here.
And Dave Jackson and Dave Collison do Ask the Podcast Coach live on Saturday mornings on a Google Hangout, and they said exactly the same thing we did. It's kind of tough sometimes because I'm talking to Ray and he's there, and then I'm looking up here. And Flash, thanks for pointing that out. And that's with webinars or with webcams. It's a bad habit. You got to remind yourself to look at the camera. Of course, I have a face for radio, so what difference does it make?
Yeah, we're doing it behind the scenes for a podcast, so
Yeah, no, but Flash is a nice guy.
Yes, he is, and he's there for everything. He's always
there for everything.
Always around, watches all the shows, he attends all the webinars, so. We appreciate it.
And it's not like he's saying, "You idiots, why aren't you looking at your webcams?" Of course, if you're listening on radio, you don't care.
That's right. But if you're wondering why you're hearing all this stuff, it's because we do this live on Facebook. So the way that we record the actual audio podcast is by doing it live on Facebook, so people can join us there. And that's how people like Flash can get involved in this show, is by posting comments, because obviously we can see them live. So if you're listening on this as a podcast, be sure to check out Facebook Live, because we'll be there as well.
And Flash, are you sure you want me looking at you?
That's right. We're watching you.
For those of you watching on the Facebook Live, and then of course we put it on other platforms as well that are audio. So
that is correct.
And
so
more and more podcasts are doing that. I think we were the first.
As far as I know, and certainly I don't know if there's anybody who keeps records of these things, but as far as I know, we are the world's first to do this. Nobody else did this before we did. As far as I know, people are starting to catch on to the trend. I'm a trendsetter. That's what I can say. We are the trend, and just remember that. So.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mostly because I got this cool software and I had to, play with it. So
Try it out. Well, you do a lot of Facebook Lives. That's kind of how you announce new products, isn't it?
some people would say that. Yes, we do
Yeah.
a lot of Facebook Live. For instance, well, and actually, Steve, it's funny, and I know this is a different direction, but let's talk about this for a second because I think it's an important thing. Obviously, Facebook Live. We're here to talk about video. Facebook Live is video, and it's growing just astronomically. 20% of all posts are now Facebook Live on Facebook. So it is growing exponentially. And, we're testing out a lot of stuff. And with this software here, now we're using, for those of you listening, I'm using a studio software that allows us to have a news, a CNN style look where Steve's in one box and I'm in another. And we got our names and we've got a ticker tape that runs down below and we've got our logo and, all that kind of fun stuff. And I can run videos and do all sorts of things like a TV studio can. Well, one of the things that I can actually do with this right now is it's not necessarily built for this, but I can actually take videos and put them into a playlist on here and run the videos. And so a lot of times, like if there's a new product, I'll run the pre-made videos that either a review I did or maybe the official demo of the software and things like that. I'll put them into this playlist and I'll run it live. We're not literally live, it's recorded stuff, but the broadcast is a live broadcast. And I'll run it like a TV station, and it'll just keep looping and going forever. And, Facebook cuts you off after 4 hours. But what's great about the software is after the 4 hours when they cut you off, the software just makes a new one and goes. So literally, I was away one weekend, and I started one before I left for a product. And it had like 4 different videos that were about this product, including a webinar. And the entire weekend, it just played all weekend in a loop. And every 4 hours, it started over so people could see fresh. And every 4 hours, people would get a notification that I've gone live. And, it's amazing because you go back and you look at the numbers, and we're talking hundreds of people each and every time that thing goes live. So you go back and you look at all the live videos, and it's like 500 people watched, 600 people watched, 400 people watched, 300 people watched, 800 people watched. And it's incredible. So it's it's an amazing platform. And it's only going to get better with time. So there we go. It's our little tangent for today.
And has it helped sales?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And depending upon the product, but we do. I'll put these things on. And what I've done is I've put some of these things on and only done that just to see how it does. And if it makes sales, then I'm willing to promote it further and whatnot. So it's a good testing point, too. And it's done very well with as far as that goes. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I totally geeked out when you started doing this, and I was telling everybody about it, and they just looked at me like, okay.
Huh? What?
And, yeah, huh? And so does this make sense what they're doing? Yeah. So you're not, like, excited like me? No. So I guess
what
that's
are you
why
gonna
they
do,
call it. That's why they call it geek, I guess.
I guess so. Only
Mindset
the
matters.
marketing geeks would get it.
Only the marketing geeks would get it. Mindset matters. Do we have a mindset matter?
We do. In fact, we have the same one from last week since we lost out on
There
that
we go.
episode.
Yeah.
So let's hit our little Mindset Matters bumper. Here we go.
And now, Mindset Matters.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, so
That's
for today's Mindset Matters, we actually have a book by somebody we mentioned a couple weeks ago, and that's by Robert Cialdini. I never know how to pronounce
Great
that properly.
Cialdini.
The Great Cialdini. And it's called Influence. Now, we talked about another one of his books a couple weeks ago, but Influence is kind of the book that really got him on the map and is something that people have been studying for a long, long time. He talks about the different styles of influence, how to influence people, and it's a very, very good book for anybody that does sales, anybody who deals with other people. You can really kind of figure out how you provide influence to them, and you learn a lot from it. Hopefully I'm implementing some of those things. Well, time will tell, but it's a great book. It's available on Amazon. It's available on audiobook, on audiobook.com or at audible.com or any of those places, probably at your local library if you want to run down there and check as well. So that's Influence by Robert Cialdini, one of the best marketing books you can really get your hands on. So head on out, check that book out, and learn from it. There you go.
Yeah. Very cool. And it's the radio show about video marketing madness with Ray the Video Guy. If you like the show, tell your friends about it because we need some people.
And your enemies. Tell your enemies.
And your enemies, tell them. You can check out my voiceover talent gig on Fiverr. I'm told I got a face for radio and a voice for radio as well. The link is at stevesleeper.com. Today's show made possible by a new doodad.
It's made possible by PocketVideoPro.com. Now, Pocket Video Pro is a set of a microphone for your iPhone or your Android phone, and it plugs into the regular old jack there. And you now have a lapel mic. Now, this lapel mic will give you much higher quality audio for when you're doing either voiceover work or doing video work. It's actually the microphone that I use all the time when I'm recording my videos with my phone, and it works very well. It's even got a little switch on it. Now, the little switch will allow you to turn on a battery pack, and the battery, it's a little watch battery, and that battery will then turn it into a microphone that you can use for traditional video cameras. So if you ever, maybe you shoot on your iPhone when you're at home, and you've got a really nice camera that you use on the road, well, now you only need one microphone to be able to do this, as it is switchable. And that's the Pocket Video Pro microphone. But we don't stop there. The package also includes a smartphone tripod mount. Now, this is a new mount. We used to have a very simple mount that we used to sell with this. This is a brand new mount that actually has a handhold, so you can actually do handheld video with it, and then it attaches to your tripod. But it has a cold shoe, as they call it, which is a little device on the top of it that allows you to attach lights and other devices onto there. And then on the side, it even has another screw in that you can put another device on there. So you can actually build an entire rig using this. It's a tremendous little product that allows you to use your iPhone on any tripod or any stabilization system. And I think you're going to absolutely love it. It's definitely better than the old one that we had, which was basically just a holder. This one does a whole lot more. So check it out at PocketVideoPro.com. Included in all of that, we have YouTube training. We've got some great backgrounds and video that you can get with it, as music as well, so that you can not only shoot with your iPhone, but you can put together an entire production. So with that, check it out. PocketVideoPro.com. Support us so that we can continue to do this crazy radio show each and every week, except when we screw up.
Yeah, except when
there
we're
you go.
idiots.
That's
and,
right.
And despite that, it still works most of the time. So.
It does. And, speaking of working, boy, I'll tell you, we're having issues today with the internet a little bit. I keep seeing little dropouts. It's not cutting us off, of course, but I do see the little yellow thing flashing and, where it's a little bit congested there. So hopefully we can get some more consistent internet some of these times. That would be a nice thing. So.
Well, and I got a good pipe to the internet here too. I don't know what causes that,
Well, who knows? It could be one of a million things. But anyway, we got through the show today without it crashing out on us, without Facebook cutting us off. So there we go. That's this week's episode. So for Steve Sleeper, I'm Ray the Video Guy, saying everything that we talked about here works, but only if you do. And so get to work.
And Flash, I'm looking at you.
That's right. I'm going to look back.
Right.
I'm looking this way. I got to keep reminding myself. Ooh. We'll see you later, everybody. Ooh, there we go.
He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy.